Hey everybody, I'm Lori Sulpizio, and today I'm going to talk about something for us parents that's probably at the core of what we want to have with our kids, which is a deep and meaningful connection, one that is defined by trust and good communication. And this is, hard to do, especially at certain phases in our kids' lives. So how can you build trust and connection in a way that leads to open communication with your child? How can you really establish a relationship where they open up to you and see you as a source of support? We're going to talk about how right now. Okay, at the foundation of this principle is the idea that we want to meet our kids where they're at, not where we want them to be. Okay, I'm going to say this again because this is really important and it's so super hard for us parents, which is meet your child where they're at, not where you want them to be. And why this is so difficult is because we've got so many expectations and hopes for our children. And so we know where we want them to be and we know what we want them to be doing. But when we put our own expectations on them and we fail to see where they are in life, then it feels to them like we are missing them. And the biggest gift we can give for the people in our lives, especially our children, is the gift of being seen and the gift of being heard. So there is one way to do this that is going to create the container for more connectedness with you and your child. And that is to ask open questions and be truly curious about their answer. So what normally happens in personal exchanges is that we ask questions that have no intention of being answered. There's no true intention that we're going to engage in a conversation around this. So when we do this with our child, of course we get those one-word answers. Hey, how was your day? Fine. How was school? Good. Did you do your homework? Yes, right? I mean, I know this one. I've got my 4 kids and these answers abound. So there's a skill to asking a question that's going to invite a bigger response. So this might look like, what interesting thing happened in school today? Or what was your favorite part of your day today? Or, hey, tell me the hardest part of your day and the best part of your day. We often fail to ask these kind of more open questions because we're not trained to do so in our social interactions, right? But to take a moment and to think about, what do I want to know from my child and how can I ask an open question and try to get the information that I would like to know? The next step is to then really listen to the answer, to be curious about the answer your child says. There's 2 reasons for this. One is that when you are actively listening, they're going to see this and recognize that you are interested in them. The second piece with active listening is that then you can ask the follow-up question because you were listening attentively, and that next question to go just a little deeper in the conversation is going to be available to you. So the open questions in conversation are relatively easy. Where this gets hard is when you're actually pushed up against some parenting issues. So something happened at school and you have to address it. You feel like your child is kind of in with a group of friends that you don't love, or a particular friend that is not your favorite, and you want to address it. They got a bad grade at school, there's a disciplinary action at school, and you have to have a conversation about that. This gets more difficult because we know what we want to say to them. You should have studied. This friend makes you do bad things. You stayed up too late and spent too much time on your games and didn't do what you needed to do. I told you to set this stuff out the night before. Of course you forgot your notebook and your homework. Here's the thing. Even when we think we know what needs to be said, the way to connection with our kids is through questioning. Again, we want to meet them where they are, and we won't know where they are if we're not willing to ask and then listen to the answer. So when your child has a friend or is connected with somebody that isn't your favorite and you think does not bring out the best in them, instead of telling them that this is a toxic friendship for them and they should stay as far away from this person as possible, you want to ask them, what is it about this friend that you like? What is it about this person that you enjoy? Oh, I noticed you're hanging out with this person again. What type of things do you do together? What kind of conversations do you have? But the key here is you've got to really be interested in the answer. If you're just doing this performatively as a way to try to feign connection and interest, they're going to see through that right away. Our kids are very smart and intuitive, and they do know us well. So be genuinely curious and be willing to listen for the answer, because that's going to help you understand what it is they're getting out of this relationship. This also works when your child comes home with a poor grade, has missing assignments. Again, of course, that's not okay, and we're not excusing that, but we want to understand where our children are in that experience from their perspective. What about these assignments are hard to complete? What's getting in your way from getting these done on time? Were you able to study for this test? This grade is surprising to me. Can we be open? Can we be curious? This does not mean that we don't have boundaries. We absolutely have boundaries, but we can put better boundaries in place when we know where our child is coming from in relation to the experience we're attempting to correct or attempting to parent around. These open-ended questions pave their way for a great follow-up question. What could you do differently there? Oh, wow, that sounds really hard. What do you think you can do about this tomorrow? Not only are you allowing them to explore their own ideas, but you're empowering them to then take some control over their own life, and you're letting them know that you're there by their side, but that you trust their ability to make decisions, and that you trust their ability to start to solve their own problems and think critically about the things they are facing. These open-ended questions that lead to great follow-ups are such an amazing way not just to connect, but to empower your child and let them know that you are right there by their side. Think about the people in your life that you are most connected to. You probably believe that these people care about you, and you believe that because they show interest in you, because you're able to communicate with them and they actually listen to you. We want to create the same thing with our children. Yes, I know we know better, and I know that we can see down that path they're taking, and we know they're going to crash and burn, but sometimes they've got to get there on their own, and then we can ask them about that. Sometimes the best lessons for our kids are the lessons that they learn from their own life, and it's our job to be there to ask questions to help them learn about themselves and learn about the world. So remember, first, open-ended questions that give space for an answer, for their answer. Second, ask a question that you're curious about hearing the answer. This isn't a question just for question's sake. This is a question because I want to hear what you have to say. Okay, third, avoid the telling, the shoulding, and the fixing. There is time for direct parenting that requires statements of how we expect our kids to act, but when we're attempting to question and connect, we want to stay more open. It's important that our kids know that not only will they have a parent who can give boundaries and guidelines and pave the way, but they've got a parent who's willing to listen, who is curious about them. Remember, the biggest thing that people want in life is to be seen and to be heard. When we feel seen and feel heard, we know our value. And it's a huge thing to walk through life knowing you're valued by the people who you love the most. Thank you so much for joining me today. I know parenting is a massive journey. It is the most challenging thing you might do, and it probably is the most meaningful thing you might do also. We're in it together, a community trying to parent more consciously, thoughtfully. We all want to elevate our ability to be connected parents. Thank you for taking the time. Try this stuff out, and I will see you next time.